Hi guys and gals, today we're going to talk about back rows, a great exercise for developing your back. We're going to talk about how you should perform it with dumbbell, also with the cable, and tell you the variations that you can perform this exercise with. Also, we're going to talk about the safety as well. Without further ado, let's go to it. So this is normally what you see when somebody is talking about back rows with dumbbell. Now this is just an example. There are a lot of variations, but like always I talk from all the way down, all the way up. So from the toes all the way to your neck and head. I tell you how you should position yourself. First thing is, I see a lot of people when they want to do the row, they come to a bench and they do it like this. When you do it like this, a lot of the time I see people are a little bit imbalanced in the hip, and that can cause problem in your spine. You see, you're putting a lot of pressure on one leg and you're just putting your spine in a really bad position. So make sure both legs are on the ground. There is a variation that you can just put one leg on the ground, but that's not by putting the other leg on a bench. That variation is like this. So still both legs are going to be straight, but just one of them, which is the opposing side to the side you're training. So if you're training the left side, you bring the right leg a little bit up like this. What it does is it's giving you a little bit more stability so you can perform the exercise better and target your back more. But this is a lot different than putting the knee on a bench and just putting the hip in an awkward position. So make sure you either bring one leg up or both legs are on the ground. Do not go too much wide, because if you just go too much wide, it's gonna restrict your range of motion and it's just gonna make you bring the arm like this, which is gonna target the bicep more. Now we're gonna talk about the hand positioning, the arm positioning, everything. Just make sure you do not go too much wide. Shoulder width is alright, and that's all you need. Make sure the knee is not too much bent. So when you just bend the knee too much, it's gonna be hard for you to bring the chest down. I'm gonna talk about the chest, but make sure you either keep the leg straight, or if it's really hard, you feel a lot of tension here, just bend it a little bit. But make sure you bring the hip up as much as you can. The reason is, when you bend it too much down, again, as mentioned, it's hard to bring the chest down and it's going to restrict the range of motion. So, for example, if I do the back exercise with the knee that's too much bent, it's going to look like this. But if I bring it back, the range of motion is going to be more. So make sure you do that. If you have any tightness in your hamstring, make sure you do a little bit of stretching in your hamstring first and then do this exercise. We talked about the knee as well. We talked about the hip. You try to bring it up. Try to align it with your chest if you can. So, for example, if my chest is here, my hip is here as well. So do not bring it too much down. Although if it's a little bit lower than, if the chest is a little bit lower than the hip, it's good, but not too much. So make sure you control that. And also, we talked about the hip, so make sure it's not to the other side as well. It doesn't matter, even if both legs are on the ground, if you just turn to one side a lot, it can cause that problem in your lower back. So we talked about the hip. The abs are of course going to be engaged, so tighten the abs. make sure your back is straight. I see it a lot of the time. People doing back exercises like this. Do not hunch down. You should have your back straight. Also make sure you open up the chest. So make sure you do this exercise with a straight back. It doesn't matter what weight you're holding. If you're just hunching down, you're not getting the best out of the exercise. And apart from that, you can injure yourself. So make sure you do that. We talked about the ab, we talked about the back, we talked about the chest, shoulder, elbow, wrist. The three important things in this exercise. You have two options. First, bringing the elbow back and just keeping it here and going forward without moving the shoulder, or moving the shoulder as well. The difference is if you just keep the shoulder back and just move the elbow, so change the degree from here, what you're doing is you're shifting the focus mostly on your lats. So the lat muscle, which is here, is gonna be more involved, so it's gonna mostly target this area, also a little bit of your mid back. But the thing is, if you move the shoulder as well, what it does is it's targeting the mid back, so this area a lot more compared to here. So again, if you move the shoulder, you're gonna target the mid back between your scapula or shoulder blade more. If you just keep the shoulder here and just move the elbow, you're gonna target more the lat, which is here. So that's the difference. About the shoulder, one other thing is the abduction degree that it has compared to your body. So if your body is like this, if you do it like this, it's different compared to doing it like this. And the difference is, the more you bring it down, again, you're targeting the lat more. And the more you bring it up, it's gonna be less lats, more the mid part and your rear delt. So keep that in mind as well. So that was about the shoulder, moving it forward or backward, or bringing it up and down. So now let's talk about the elbow. You can fully straighten your elbow or keep it a little bit bent during the exercise. So if you bring it all the way forward like this, if you do the exercise like this, it is different compared to this. You see, I have a little bit of degree still left, up, still left. I'm not like this, I'm here. The difference is, if you go all the way, you're gonna use a lot more bicep. But if you just keep it a little bit bent and go back, the bicep engagement, the brachialis and brachioradialis engagement is gonna be less when you want to initiate the exercise. And the people who go all the way straight tend to bring it mostly to the chest. But the people who do not bend make it straight all the way, so keep it like this, they tend to come a little bit lower. And the reason is, again, bicep engagement, the brachialis, brachioradialis, and also the bicep muscle itself. So that's another difference. And again, as we said already, try to bring it down if you're trying to target the back more. If you want to use the bicep and muscles in this area, try to bring it to your chest. But it's better to do this exercise targeting the back, because if you want to target this area, there are a lot more other exercises which are going to be easier. So the more the weight is up, also when you bring the elbow too much up, it's going to be harder for you to just keep yourself straight compared to bringing it down. So keep that in mind as well. Now Although for back exercises, it's good to just use your hand as a hook. So the more stronger you squeeze the dumbbell, the more you're gonna engage again this area. So that's why for back exercises, it's better to get the barbell or dumbbell or whatever resistance there is, like this, like a hook to engage more back. But make sure it's not too much low. I see a lot of people grabbing the dumbbell all the way down, and because this is a back exercise and you're gonna lift a lot of weight, because of that it's not a good idea to bring it all the way down. You can still use your arm as a hook, but just like this. Do not bring it all the way down to just target your back. It's gonna cause problem in your forearm. It's just gonna be painful. So still try to use your hand as a hook. So do not fully squeeze the weight. Not this, but a little bit low. But if you are just training for a strength, try to squeeze. You're gonna be stronger. Neck, head, like always, make sure you do not bring it back or down or to the side. Make sure you focus on your back. Also, another thing that I see a lot of people do is when they wanna grab something for help with the other hand, sometimes they put their shoulder in a back position, so they're grabbing a heavy weight and they're just like this and doing the exercise. All the weight is just put on the shoulder and it's just gonna cause a lot of problems. So the best way to do this exercise is either with no hand helping you, so you just do it all by yourself, or if you want to grab somewhere or something, make sure the shoulder is not in this position. So this is a good place for you to do this exercise, but make sure it's not all the way up.